All right, let's go into our other topic. So it's happened, y'all. We are here at the funeral. We are gathered here today to look at the DCEU and bury it. After 10 years, beginning in 2023, we have now reached the end of the DCEU. Now, like I was saying, this weekend I plan to do a video where I recap what I thought of the whole 10 years from Man of Steel, going movie by movie, the slate, all that stuff until Aquaman. But today, I kind of want to focus in on the movies we didn't get to see. The DCEU that was always promised to us that maybe was going to be awesome, but we never got. Let me pull them up and we'll go through them bit by bit and see what happened, buddy. Why did this never occur? All right. It's a long list, so I'm not going to spend too much time on everything, but let's go through it beginning here. A Harley Quinn versus Joker movie. This was something that was in the works. It was originally the original idea for Birds of Prey before it happened. And honestly, this would have been great. You know, I don't mind what they did with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. For one, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, one of the best casting choices. She's up there with Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. She is so iconic with that role, and I hope we do get to see her again. What they were setting up within like Suicide Squad in there and their relationship, and even just like this little moment, having a Harley Quinn versus Joker movie, I think could have been really great, especially since they give Harley Quinn the arc they were hoping for throughout other movies. You know, Birds of Prey and even the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, they give her the arc she was going to have in this movie where she cuts herself from the Joker. It's a toxic relationship. She becomes her own person. She blurs the line between good and bad. Like, I would have loved to have seen it, but alas, it did not happen. That would have been nice. A Joker movie. Along with a freaking so this is before they decided to do the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. Jared Leto was going to get his own film. I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest thing I'm going to end up talking about whenever I make that video about the DCEU is the slate they came out with. Because again, look at this. This was our entire roster of the DCEU. How messy, jumbled, makes absolutely no sense. You can't even tell a linear path. Like, and it only took 2 movies for it to go completely off the rails. You have a Superman movie, okay. A Batman versus Superman movie, kind of rushing it, but we'll let it happen. Suicide Squad movie, you lost. What are you doing? How is that where you go with things? Like, honestly, that should have been the Flash right there. They should have just done the Flash right there. I don't know why they did that. The whole idea to introduce the villains, this should have been part of a Batman movie. Ben Affleck Batman, but we again have to remember the context of all this. The Dark Knight trilogy with Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan, that had just ended, and that had set the bar so damn high, people were afraid to touch it. People were afraid to reboot Batman. They're like, we'll give you a Batman, but he's going to show up in team-up movies and this and that. I don't know if we're ready to try and, compete with what Christopher Nolan did, and I don't blame them. So this was their idea instead, and, I guess I honestly kind of like the Joaquin Phoenix one better, because although I think Jared Leto's Joker could have been great, there's things about him that I was, like, drawn back to. Like, even just the tattoo on that forehead, get rid of that tattoo on the forehead, I like his Joker, like, 10 times more. Honestly. Zack Snyder's Justice League sequels. Well, you can't have Zack Snyder Justice League sequels if you kick Zack Snyder out of the universe, right? Again, we're going to talk about this, but as we were going, Zack Snyder movies were just not well received at the time. People really did not love his take on the DC universe so much that Warner Brothers panicked. They fired him and they brought the Avengers guy, Joss Whedon, in. In hindsight, they definitely did the man dirty and should not have done that. After seeing his cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I wanted at least one sequel, because I felt like he did build a really good team, a great dynamic. Actors aside, Ezra Miller and stuff like that, his idea to have Green Lanterns in there, make it more cosmic, the dark side he created. Whoa! I thought Steppenwolf in his version was really cool. I cannot imagine the fight with Darkseid and Superman and all the stuff he had planned, even if it's not exactly the route I would have liked to have gone, like a Batman ending up with Lois Lane and having a kid and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Zach? But some of those elements, at least for the fight scenes, I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen. The Trench. Oh, you guys remember The Trench? This was supposed to be a spin-off to Aquaman. So and going through this, it just reminds you how crazy the executives at freaking Warner Brothers are. Because again, how do you go? Okay, we have our universe set up. The Trench. Sir, what about Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter or The Flash? The Trench. Bring me the Trench. Why is that an idea at all? Now, we found out some information about this movie years later that changed my mind, because the second they announced this, I did not want it. I did not want this Trench movie. Turns out it was actually supposed to be a secret Black Manta movie. Oh, it was supposed to be an in-between sequel while we wait for Aquaman 2. And after having seen Aquaman 2, the movie basically probably would have been him looking for the Black Trident, and the movie ending with him getting the Black Trident, getting to know more about him, his backstory, his life, why he's a genius, all this kind of stuff. Once I learned it was actually a secret Black Manta movie, I kind of regret saying I didn't want it, because Black Manta is one of my favorite DC villains now that they created, and in Aquaman 2 I think he's one of the best parts. I treated you too harshly, The Trench. I would have loved to have seen that movie, but alas, it did not happen. They canceled it. They said, yeah, stupid idea, we'll move along. New Gods. I know, again, like, this is just insanity to me. Who is the executive sitting down and making these decisions? You have so many classic, iconic characters, and you decide, let's make a movie with these random, nobody named gods that nobody is familiar with. You have some of the most notable, legendary, iconic superheroes in your roster, and you're making the Suicide Squad, the new gods. Now, with that said, I'm sure it could have been great. It was supposed to be an insight into freaking Darkseid, his family members, other really godly, powerful beings. Ava DuVernay was gonna end up directing it. I'm sure it could have been nice, but honest, I would have had no interest in this movie. I don't want to see Darkseid by himself the same way I don't want to see Venom by himself. I want to see Venom next to Spider-Man. I want to see Darkseid fighting the Justice League or fighting Superman. Why is that difficult? Okay. New Gods. No, thank you. I'm okay that we didn't get it. The Wonder Twin. This movie was 2 weeks away from becoming a thing, man. This is insane. So, the Wonder Twins, who I actually was familiar with before they announced them because of the old TV shows and them always being the butt of the joke. So, the Wonder Twins was part of this initiative that Warner Brothers had, where it's like streaming. It's very hot right now. People love the streaming. They love to clickety-click, sit at home, watch movies. And you know what? We should spend millions of dollars on these movies that'll make $0. Doesn't that sound like genius business? Now, thanks to that program, we got Blue Beetle, and I'm extremely grateful for that because I love that movie. But Wonder Twins was one of those ideas to be a straight-to-streaming DC movie within the DCEU. These alien twins. One turns into any form of water, usually a bucket of water. A bucket of water was his power. And the I don't even remember what superpower the girl had. The girl had some other power that I completely forgot. I think animal changing or something like that. And they also have a monkey. That's the Wonder Twins, okay? Well, they had the kid from Riverdale, Archie, the main guy. Yeah, this was the cast. They cast them already. Riverdale Archie guy was going to be in there. This beautiful actress was going to be also in there. They were 2 weeks away from starting the cameras rolling when then maybe this isn't a good idea. I have rumors and hearings this is going to be a tax write-off movie, and you know it would have been a tax write-off movie if they actually got to filming it. I'm okay that it didn't happen. Maybe it could have been fun, wacky, and zany. I wouldn't have minded. But this is a kind of movie you make when you're in your fourth phase in your successful cinematic universe. You know, if the DC universe was as successful as the MCU, I'd be fine with a Wonder Twins movie in phase 4. I'd be wanting that movie, but right now, you do not put this in one of your early phases, man. A movie that should have not ended up on this list at all. Freaking Batgirl. This is the only movie out of this entire list that actually got made, but we will never see. You will never see Batgirl. This was crazy. I remember when this came out and all the drama surrounding it. The world changed. You know, everybody remembers when they were the day they announced Batgirl is not happening, right? So there is some understanding of why it didn't happen and whatnot, but I don't even get it. So again, this was going to be a straight to streaming movie. It was going to be connected to the DCEU. It was going to be a direct repercussion to the events of The Flash. At one point, The Flash was going to end where Michael Keaton was the new Batman of the DC universe because Ben didn't want to continue and they didn't have any other ideas. So they thought nostalgia bait, bring Michael Keaton back, right? But once they fired people, changed things up, hired James Gunn, decided to reboot things, they were like, yeah, we have no idea how to end The Flash now. How about a George Clooney joke that still kind of ruins a bit of the movie? But now it doesn't make sense that this Batgirl movie exists because Michael Keaton is technically dead by the end of The Flash or doesn't exist anymore in their universe. So they're like, yeah, this movie doesn't make sense anymore. Can it? Get rid of it. And it sucks, man, because whether you think about it or not, I would love to see Michael Keaton again as Batman. We didn't even get to see him ride his Batmobile in the Flash movie. He was going to ride the Batmobile in this movie. Brendan Fraser as Firefly. I love Brendan Fraser. You're not going to let me see a movie where he's a villain? So, you know, and I just feel bad for everyone involved, but it didn't end up happening. All right. One of the biggest mistakes of this entire universe that maybe would have changed a lot of things. While I said I was fine with Batman vs Superman happening after Man of Steel, that movie should have been the third Man of Steel movie. You jumped way too soon into that kind of concept, way too soon into everything that happened in that movie. You're 2 movies into your universe and you're introducing Doomsday. You're killing off Superman. You're having a Batman that's basically at the end of his ropes. Like, what? How is that how you start a universe? Sorry. I know people love it, and there are things I do like about it, but we should have just got a straight up Man of Steel 2. And again, the reason it didn't happen is because people didn't love Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, which I do think is crazy. I actually really love Man of Steel. It's one of my favorites from his. And even some of the controversial topics about that movie, I think is what makes it great. You know, like him killing Zod at the end. I know that's controversial, and usually I wouldn't want my Superman to kill. But the moral idea that brought up and the situation he was put in and the regret he felt, I felt made for an actual compelling Superman movie that could have been an interesting psychological story to follow with Superman in the sequel. What we never got. But what's even crazier is almost 10 years later, we finally got the confirmation you're getting Man of Steel 2. Happened after Black Adam. They set up a post-credit scene. Henry Cavill got back in that suit. There was cheers in the theaters. I was hyped. 3 months later, you're fired. You're fired. How does that happen? This messed up, crazy universe, man. How do you bring the guy back? Make him do a little announcement on Instagram. Just want to let y'all know I'm Superman again. Come check out the movie. And then you fire him. What? That's insanity, man. Like, I can't believe that happened. This movie should have happened at minimum 5 years, at least, after Man of Steel. Minimum. Hang on, let me see here. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Let me just do something real quick. All right, sorry about that. All right, continuing on here. Look at all this long history of Man of Steel 2. Okay, a Black Adam sequel. What do we even say about that? Remember everything leading up to Black Adam with The Rock? Hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change. Oh, it did, Dwayne. It definitely did change. And it meant you were being kicked out of it, my friend. That must have been the most embarrassing thing for Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I still really respect him and like him, but that must have hurt him, dude. That must have pissed him off. I bet he goes to sleep at night like, dude, he was counting to be the freaking Iron Man of this universe. But I think that's one of your biggest mistakes. You don't cast a giant star like Dwayne Johnson in what is essentially a minor villain in the overall DC scheme of things. Black Adam isn't a dark side. Black Adam isn't a somebody you like pin a universe on. He's definitely a cool character, but the idea that like you don't even have him fight Shazam and or set up that kind of battle, you go straight to fighting Superman, big mistake. Big mistake. Green Lantern Corp. Yes. I hate that we had one bad Green Lantern movie and now we can never have a Green Lantern movie again. I hope the same thing does not happen with The Flash. So much drama, controversy, and things with The Flash. And now that it's out and they're going to recast Ezra Miller, I don't know if we're ever going to get a Flash movie again. We might have to wait 20 years. The Green Lantern characters are some of the coolest characters in the DC universe, not only because of their power, but because of the core, all the different members across the galaxy, even the idea of like almost the police of the universe and things like that. Like, I love the Green Lantern, and we just barely ever get to see them. I was so disappointed when James Gunn came out and said they're going to be an HBO show. Now, granted, is that going to be cool? And I'm going to check that thing out, and it's probably going to be very expensive because TV shows are now expensive. Heck yes. But I want you to give me a Green Lantern movie again. I want you to try again and take it seriously. This movie could be epic, but I feel almost like Green Lantern in the movie universe has become the Aquaman of what Aquaman used to be. You remember how everyone used to make fun of Aquaman? I feel like that's Green Lantern now. Nobody cares about him. That hurts, man. I want a Green Lantern movie, but we're getting the TV show, and I'm sure that's going to be awesome. Lobo. Looks like at one point they were wanting to make a Lobo movie. You know what? That might end up being a reality with James Gunn. Lobo is exactly the kind of character that James Gunn will take out of something and be like, all right, this deserves a movie. And that honestly could be fine. Lobo could honestly be the DC Universe's Deadpool if played right. Will it be Jason Momoa? I don't know. I know people want him to be Jason Momoa, but it would literally be him being Aquaman again because Jason Momoa just made Aquaman Lobo, gave him that, ooh, yeah, baby, my man. Those are all things that Lobo should have had. And now he's just going to do that exact same thing with a bunch of makeup or CG on him. I don't know if Jason Momoa should be Lobo. I think he would have been great at the beginning and could have made that role super iconic. But now it's like he's just acting like Aquaman now because I don't know. That's just my understanding of it. Cyborg. Ray Fisher was one of the people that were also done dirty and whatnot. Feel how you feel about Ray Fisher. He was someone I didn't care about in the Justice League version just because there was no development there. Eventually, we got the Zack Snyder cut, and Cyborg's subplot in that movie is the best part of it. His whole journey becoming it, and Cyborg is such a tragic character. It is interesting though that like out of all these like lesser known characters, Cyborg became kind of in the stance of the Justice League. Because, growing up, I always saw him as a Teen Titan character because that's where I grew up on, the Teen Titans. And so it's just kind of funny that they always put him on the team and on there. But I was looking forward to him having a movie. I felt like there could have been something there. But like a big part of the Cyborg movie is his origin, his tragedy, what he goes through with that. I don't know if the best thing in the DC universe was to have all the origins of the major characters done in like quick bursts. Because Cyborg's origin is all done in that Justice League movie. The Flash's origin is done in that movie. Wonder Woman's basically explained. Batman's explained. Like, what would you have done in a Cyborg movie by that point, But I would have liked to have seen it. Gotham Sirens. This was a bit, again, I think what Birds of Prey ended up being. Does not need to be a movie that needs to happen. Why you're making other team up movies like this? Give me my Ben Affleck Batman movie. Why are you doing this? Deadshot, Will Smith, star power. Stop casting these giant stars for what are essentially super minor villains. Will Smith is great, and I like him. He should have never have been Deadshot. Like, why did you make him Deadshot? And then he was going to have a movie where Ben Affleck Batman would have cameoed for like 5-10 minutes. It's like, just give me my Ben movie and have him be a minor villain in it. But we can't do that because it's Will Smith, and Will Smith needs to be the star. All right. Like, I don't want to speak badly. He might come in here and smack me. All right, Deathstroke. Him getting a movie? Yeah, I guess that's fine. I'd rather him be a villain in a Teen Titan movie. I know that's like a low grade thing for him, but A solo Deathstroke movie? No. And in fact, he was supposed to be the main bad guy of the Ben Affleck Batman movie when they finally were going to decide to make it, right? You maybe have seen some of that test footage that they were going to do. I would have rather seen that. He was going to destroy Batman's life and all that, and could have had really cool fight scenes. Supergirl, that got canceled. That was announced. That was a movie. It was probably going to be with Sasha Kaya at one point. Now we're still getting a Supergirl movie, but it's a completely different story. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm just sad that it wasn't Sasha Kaya. Now, this movie, Crisis on Infinite Earths, this is literally what they were building to right now. If the DC universe didn't end and Walter Hamada was still in charge of it and James Gunn didn't come in and all that stuff, this was their plan. Remember, they filmed a post-credit scene for The Flash that was going to have Ben Affleck Batman send a message to Barry Allen across the universe saying, come and find me. Come and find us, Barry. And it was going to lead to this multiverse event where we were going to see different universes colliding together, just like the comic event Crisis on Infinite Earth. But we're rebooting things. Maybe one day in the future, I could definitely see James Gunn doing this and bringing back a lot of these old actors from this dead universe. But that's a long shot. That's going to take so much time, and I don't know if they'll ever actually do it. Batman Beyond. I wanted it. I wanted it to happen. It'll probably end up being an animated movie now with James Gunn, which, you know what? That's fine. It could be their Spider-Verse. And honestly, just thinking about the visuals in that universe, whoa, that'd be so awesome. Wonder Woman 3. It's we're not getting it with Gal Gadot anymore. That was something in the works, and that's one of the early projects that they killed with freaking the new universe coming in. I liked Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I liked, Wonder Woman 2 wasn't that great, but her first Wonder Woman was amazing. All right. Nightwing. I forgot this was a movie they announced. They came out and say that Chris McKay, who I believed worked on the Lego Batman movie, so he has that Batman knowledge because Lego Batman was pretty great. That would have been awesome. I would have loved a Nightwing movie. It just would have been funny because it would have been an Elseworld story. It wouldn't have been connected to the DCEU because in the DCEU, Robin, Dick Grayson, Nightwing is dead. He's the one that died. It wasn't Jason Todd. It wasn't another Robin. Dick Grayson is dead in the DCEU, which pains my little heart because I love him. But a Nightwing movie in his own universe, sure. That would have meant we would have gotten another Batman that wasn't Ben Affleck. A Flash sequel. That's not happening. That's not happening. The rest are old projects not connected to the DCEU. But that right there is just like a quick history lesson of the things we were promised, things we were going to get. There were announcements, there was writers, there was attachments. Some of these actually got made and are canceled for tax purposes. That's what happens, man. That's the DCEU. Oh, man, that was crazy.